Hills High School.
Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's the question for the day. Please put it in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or here on the two-way platform. Name a more famous real high school. Fictional high school doesn't count, like where Archie and Veronica went doesn't count. Riverdale, I think they went to. Name a more famous high school in America than Beverly Hills High or Little Rock Central High, where Sarah Huckabee Sanders went and Chelsea Clinton. Did Chelsea go there or did she go to private school? I know when she went to D.C., she went to private school.
I know she went to private school in D.C., but...
Yeah, but I know in Arkansas. Well, she went in high school when she was in Arkansas. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the morning meeting. It's Friday.
Bronx
so that means
math?
No. I mean, famous, but not as famous. It's
there was
Bronx
a sitcom
science.
of it, remember, with
Bronx
Robin
science.
Gibbons and
I'll say again. No. Boarding schools don't count. Boarding schools do not count. DeMatha is a good one, though. And we could restrict it to public schools, I suppose, because Little Rock Central and Beverly Hills High are public schools. Right. So maybe we do. I already said Rock and Roll High School. Thank you. Anyway, at the end of the program, winners and losers of the week and what to look for.
You were reading the chat. I saw you. You were not glancing.
No,
that was reading.
No, here's what I did.
I saw those eyes going too.
I glanced at it for a prolonged period of time. It's totally different than reading. No smack in the chat. Peace, love, and understanding. And participate, and let's get at least one new hand in today. If you've never raised your hand, please do. Larry O'Connor is here, the powerful voice of WML Radio and the Larry O'Connor Review and Deluxe
Extravaganza.
With a new backdrop too, with a new fancy backdrop.
New fancy backdrop.
House.
One of those items looks to me like a thing that would be in my gym that has wipes in it. What is that yellow thing with the red lid? Does that have antiseptic wipes in it?
That is a bag of Old Bay goldfish because it's a hat tip to my Annapolis location.
Old Bay. Old Bay. When you're in the mood for Old Bay, there's nothing better. And if you're not in the mood, it'll make you vomit. And Kevin Walling is here. Kevin, welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Happy Friday, everybody.
All right. So I'll run through the day book in a moment, and then we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Iran, however you pronounce it. We're going to talk about Epstein and the Clintons and the President of the United States. The President's going to Texas. J.D. Vance said some really interesting things about MAGA, Paramount, what the Paramount thing means, a few other topics, and then again, as I said, winners and losers of the week. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I need to remind you that being Friday, today's your last day to hear me tell you need to buy something from Cozy Earth. Our friends at Cozy Earth, they love the dogs. You love the dogs. The dogs can cuddle in the bubble cuddle blanket with impunity, but so can you. The dogs cannot go on CozyEarth.com and put in the promo code MORNING. Why is that? Dogs are great at a lot. They're not great typists. That's just a thing about dogs. So go on CozyEarth.com, promo code MORNING. Save 20% off the bubble cuddle blanket, the towels, the sheets, the pillows that come with the bed set, but then also the pants and the shirts, everything. 20% off, CozyEarth.com. And it's an opportunity for you to give it a try because many of you tune me out when I do these ad reads. And I try to get your attention. For instance, today I could sing the song Rock and Roll High School by the Ramones and snap you right back, but I won't. I'll just say go to CozyEarth.com, promo code MORNING, 20% off everything on the site, including the bubble cuddle blanket. And if you think going into this weekend without owning a bubble cuddle blanket is good for you, I'm here to say you're wrong. CozyEarth.com, promo code MORNING. Thank you for your attention to that matter. All right, guys, here's the day book. The President of the United States starts his day in Washington, D.C., ends his day in Mar-a-Lago. But in between, he goes to the Lone Star State, lands there at late afternoon in Corpus Christi, Texas. I got to say, Corpus Christi is one of the biggest and most famous cities in America I've never been to. Been all over Texas, but I've never been there. He has an energy briefing at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time, which, by the way, special episode of Two Way tonight, early time, 4 p.m. Eastern. So if the president's on time, we'll maybe take some of the energy briefing live. Then 4:35 makes remarks on energy in the port of Corpus Christi, and then heads to a local TV interview. Anybody know who that's with? Don't know.
No.
It's not with WKRP in Cincinnati. I know that.
Or WMLNDC.
Or WMNDC. And then he goes to Mar-a-Lago. The remarks on energy will be attended by all three of the Republicans seeking their party's nomination to be senator in 2026, including the incumbent John Cornyn. I stand by my prediction, which Jonathan Martin in Politico today kind of nodded to, which is Trump will endorse Cornyn in the runoff unless Cornyn is blown out on Tuesday. We shall see. Sorry, back to the day book. Vice President, don't know what he's doing after his trip to Wisconsin yesterday. On the flight on Air Force Two, he did an interview with the Washington Post. What's that reporter's name? She's been on two-way before. Lori, what's her name? Just blanking on her name. She's a very good reporter. Come on, somebody help me. What's her name? Who interviewed the vice president? No. Her name is, I could picture her. Anyway, he did an interview at the Washington Post. Kevin, what's up with that? Does that surprise you? You did an interview at the Washington Post?
Not necessarily.
No.
Okay. Maybe he's thrown them a bone a little bit. Obviously, they got to replace something like the 3-week-old stories that are still on the homepage. So
yeah. So, all right, 11 o'clock, President Clinton goes to his deposition at the Performing Arts Center there in Chappaqua near the Clintons' home. Natalie Allison, thank you very much. Natalie Allison of the Washington Post, great reporter, had an interview with J.D. Vance. Thank you. Chairman Comer said something not surprising yesterday. One of the few things he said that wasn't stupid, but not surprising, is, I'll go with unstrategic. How about that? That President Clinton's testimony will take longer than Secretary Clinton's. Now, Secretary Clinton's was interrupted for half an hour while they fought over a photo. But that means President Clinton will be there late into the night, presumably. And it should go longer because he actually has things he could possibly say that would be of relevance to the committee, unlike Hillary Clinton. So that starts at 11. Kamala Harris in Detroit City, 6 o'clock on her book tour. And then today in... What happened? Do we have the producer price numbers? They came out at 8:30. Do we have those? I forget. We'll look those up. Today in Israel, in Tel Aviv, biggest marathon in the history of Israel in terms of participation. One of the people participating, although he's not doing the full marathon, here's a picture of our community member, your fellow two-wayer, Michael Granoff, is running 10K today. It's one of those races where you can pick what you run. There's Michael. Nice. Here's some coverage. Put up the coverage, if you would, of the... I forget what number that is. Where's our other marathon thing? Here you go. Now, the Israelis, they're badasses, folks, as this tweet points out. While foreign governments tell their citizens to run to the airport, which Mike Huckabee did, we'll get to that in a moment, Israelis head to the starting line. 45,000 people, that's a lot for Israel, decided to run in the Tel Aviv Marathon this morning. This is Israel. Great photo. If you're watching on the podcast, you should jump over here to the platform or to YouTube because it's a great picture. So that race is underway right now. I believe it started just a while ago. And here we go. Iran. If there hadn't been, out of the negotiations yesterday, the U.S. side has been pretty quiet. Even on background, they haven't said much. If there hadn't been from the Omanis and the Iranians words of encouragement, if they hadn't said there's going to be now technical level conversations and negotiations next week, we'd all be just saying, is the attack starting tonight or tomorrow night? Because everything else that's happening suggests attack. Administration officials continue to say the Iranians are not, serious. The thing that's on the table is a partial agreement on Iran that is like the Obama deal light, and nothing on terrorism, nothing on ballistic missiles. And then the most telltale sign is all over the region, there's evacuations. The Chinese evacuated some of their people. Mike Huckabee sent a letter this morning, an email this morning to the embassy staff saying, get a flight sooner rather than later to get out of Israel. And then a bunch of bases have been evacuated. You can go on in Twitter, Instagram, and see all of this. And then, in addition, more military are coming in. More of these planes are going into Israel and elsewhere in the region. So, again, there's just mixed signals here, and of course, people wonder whether the military buildup and the evacuations are meant to pressure the Iranians, or the opposite, that this is all real, and the Iranians can pretend they're going to negotiate next week, but if they're negotiating next week, it's going to be after they're bombed. With all that buildup, Larry, where are you on all of this?
I think we're right where we were over the course of the last several days. I'd still make note that most of the leaks that we're getting right now are from the Iranian side, and it's the Iranians who are leaking to the media saying, we're making progress, we're getting closer, we're getting closer. You're not hearing that from the American side. What you're hearing from the American side is they're not serious. And it seems to me that's a preemptive strike, if I can use those words, to sort of have a narrative once a military strike happens. I could be wrong, Kevin, unless you're seeing something in there that I don't see.
Yeah, Kevin?
No, I mean, I think, to Mark's point, those notices went out to the embassy. That's something that happened about 8 days before Operation Midnight Hammer. I do think we're on war footing here, obviously, with the assets moving in. There's reporting that the CENTCOM commander was actually in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Brad Cooper, I think is his name, Navy Admiral, to go Navy beat Army for Larry, to brief the president and senior leadership. Obviously, he's the lead in terms of the region. So I do think we are headed sooner than later to some kind of military operation.
What percent chance would you guys put on a strike this weekend, Larry? What percent chance this weekend, whether small strike or big strike, just any sort of strike?
Any kind of strike. I'd say we're, honestly, I think we're at 50-50 right now.
50-50 for this weekend?
I do. Yeah.
Kevin, you taking the over or the under on that?
I'm taking the over potentially. Mark, as you just said, the president's going to Mar-a-Lago tonight. That also could be a head fake. Could be either way, right?
Yeah.
If he was going back to Washington, maybe military action. But we also know Midnight Hammer took place at Mar-a-Lago, so there's no limit as to where the president can conduct the war from, and that could also be a head fake to the Iranians.
He loves doing the wars from Mar-a-Lago. Makes him feel like whatever, like a Meriwether.
It's
Post.
very true.
Okay. The numbers that came out, the PPI numbers, caused the Dow futures to fall 500. So let's remember at 9:30. Let's check in and see what happens on the open.
What's your over under on the strike?
I am totally flummoxed. I think. All right, I'll do this. A cop out, but this is really how I feel. My head says it's not going to be this weekend, but my gut says it will be. They leaned a little bit too hard into, they're going to be technical negotiations, and then the principals get back together. Here's the thing. Trump doesn't want to strike without some justification. We've now seen both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times do pieces that say experts say they're exaggerating. The U.S. is exaggerating the missile capability. They're exaggerating the nuclear capability, and exaggerating a little bit on the current state of the terrorism capability. Right. So all of that suggests to me that they need to do more work. And I know some people in the administration are annoyed at those stories because they don't think they're true, but they need to do more work to sell this. Remember, Schumer seemed to be sold. Schumer seemed to be after the private briefing.
After that Gang of Eight meeting.
After the Gang of Eight briefing. So I don't think, unless the president wants to give a speech tonight, I just don't think they've made the case enough. And having not made the case to justify it to the American people, to the allies in the region, besides Israel, who all for it, of course, having not done that, it's striking when the premises, negotiations are on the table. When the premises, the Iranians and the Omanis say there was progress, I just don't think that it's ripe for a strike under those circumstances. But my gut says my Friday night's going to be taken up with trying to decide whether we do a special two-way to watch the bombs fall. All right,
Mark. One other point.
Yeah.
One other point on that front too. Democrats want to introduce a war powers resolution
on
next
Tuesday,
week, specifically about Iran.
Yeah,
I think that could also be mute by this weekend if the president takes action. He probably doesn't want to have debate. Obviously, that act will probably fail because there's Democrats that won't support it, and obviously Republicans won't. But he might want to preempt even that conversation happening in Congress.
Yes, sir. That and that's supposed to be Tuesday. That vote. I think the Senate votes Tuesday, I believe. Anyway, all right. I want to talk about the Clintons and Epstein, but I want to start with the current president and Epstein. The Justice Department said yesterday they're going to investigate and maybe release these other FBI interviews with this accuser who claims Trump sexually assaulted her when she was a minor in South Carolina. Is that going to happen? Do we think they're going to release that? And because if they are, Friday night would probably be a good time to do it from a news dump point of view. But do you guys think they're going to say, yes, we're going to release these documents?
They should release it. That's
they think they think they're going to?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. Kevin, do you think they'll release them?
Yeah, when you've got like an institutionalist like Chuck Grassley out there making statements that they need to, release this, I do think the pressure is mounting. Because again,
if you think about it, it's been
bungled
blunted,
this whole operation.
Right? The impact of it's been blunted by people screaming, "Oh my gosh, look what they're covering up!" And then I think that there's already been sane, rational responses to that. So I don't see the negative impact at this point.
Have you seen this picture that's alleged to be Epstein and Lutnick on the island? Have you guys seen that picture?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like cargo shorts.
Yeah, and it's cargo
blue shirt.
To me, it doesn't totally look like Lutnick, but whatever. But if I understand this correctly, it was in the files. Then they pulled it back. Now they've put it back up. But like, again, all these things about too much redactions, too few, and some documents not released. Like, obviously, part of this is just chaos and incompetence. But but the left thinks this is all a big conspiracy, and we'll see what happens. The Clintons, the smartest money going into Hillary's testimony yesterday, and we're being forward-looking. We're talking about Hillary to look forward to Bill today. Was that Hillary would eat their lunch because Comer, he's a very nice guy, whatever. He's just not a competent investigator, and he's going up against one of the all-time champions of handling difficult situations. Under investigation, whether it's Congress or federal prosecutor. Secretary Clinton is one of the most underrated people I've ever covered in politics. She is just a skilled, brilliant, savvy person, except in 2016. And yesterday, if you didn't watch it, go watch it. She came out, she held a long press conference, just extraordinarily skilled, and mocked the Republicans. And when that transcript, which could get released today, or video, which could get released today, when that comes out, if her characterization of what they asked her is true, and I'm sure it is, they're going to look like bigger morons than they did yesterday, because they're going to embarrass themselves. Now, I covered the Clintons since 1991, and I have extraordinary appreciation, as you can tell, for the skills of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Here are, if you need a reminder, 2 previous instances when, after she dealt with investigations, she held press conferences and let it all hang out. And she's so good as she was yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, a morning meeting, Friday flashback. First, the Pink Press Conference, 1994. 108, please.
Some of the opponents of health care have certainly tried to use Whitewater as a proxy for their opposition to health care. I think that in the last several days, some of the leading opponents of health care have even said things which seem to suggest that. I find that very regrettable.
She sat in the East Room to answer questions about the billing records, which is one of the most outrageous Clinton scandals all time. It's right up there with the cattle futures, $100,000. But she answered every question. She just sat there and let it all hang out. And then 2 years later, she left the federal grand jury. Extraordinary phenomena. First Lady of the United States goes and testifies before a criminal grand jury, and she came striding out, not in pink, but in black this time, and did this.
I was glad to have the opportunity to tell the grand jury what I have been telling all of you. I do not know how the billing records came to be found, where they were found, but I am pleased that they were found because they confirm what I have been saying. Well, I look forward to being able to tell the grand jury what I know, to be able to answer their questions. I, like everyone else, would like to know the answer about how those documents...
Did she talk? Did she talk going in? I thought she talked when she came out, but that's just she talked going in. In any event, she was masterful in her press conference again yesterday. First question, Kevin: will President Clinton, after his grand jury appearance late on a Friday night, will he speak to the press as well?
I think he does. Obviously, she set the precedent. The interesting thing I've seen on the Bill Clinton front is aides around him kind of tamping down expectations with his performance, right? Saying that he's gotten a little older. He's there's a little bit, he's maybe missed a few steps here. Obviously, Hillary is still firing on all cylinders, as we saw. And part of the equation, too, is just look at who's on the opposite side, right? I mean, I think Nancy Mace tweeted out a photo of her and Anna Paulina Luna and James Comer in a car, heading to the deposition. We're not dealing with, rocket scientists on the other side. And Hillary obviously, worked her magic with them. And we'll see how President Clinton fares now, again, with that expectation setting. It's kind of interesting to see that kind of preempt by his team.
Yeah. Larry, CNN reported that when they showed Hillary pictures of Bill Clinton in the, I don't know, is it a swimming pool or a hot tub? Which is it?
It's a pretty big
hot tub. It's a swimming too.
Okay, in a swimming pool. When they showed pictures of Bill Clinton in the swimming pool, when they showed her pictures of Bill Clinton getting the back rub on the plane, that Hillary, they said, and one of the members said, how do you feel about that? CNN and someone else reported Hillary said, I'm not here to talk about my feelings, which is a pretty fucking good answer. Sorry to use profanity, but I'm moved to in this instance. But Larry, what is Bill Clinton going to say today when he's asked, tell us the circumstances of your being in that swimming pool?
It depends on the definition of what a swimming pool is. I mean, listen, I don't think, first of all, I don't think Chairman Comer is a moron. I don't think that the Republicans on the Oversight Committee are morons or in some way, lack intelligence. I think that in comparison to the Machiavellian approach that the Clintons take to everything in their public life, they look like that they're babes in the woods.
Yeah.
Because they don't approach government in the same cynical way. Because
the
words you used. No, but Mark, the words you used to describe.
I need to correct.
I'm sorry. You're going to correct me and tell me James Comer is a moron?
No, I'm going to correct myself. I shouldn't have called him a moron. I think he's extremely unskilled at leading investigations. If his goals are both political and substantive, Larry, what goal did he achieve yesterday for his side and for the American people, politically and substantively?
Well, I think that he may naively think that he's trying to get to the truth of this matter and trying to get facts out.
They asked her about Pizzagate and UFOs.
Well, according to Hillary Clinton, they did. And by the way, you don't know.
Well,
she
we'll
didn't
see
say
if
the
they get that
Republicans
transcript.
asked that.
Yeah. Larry, I'll say again.
Mark,
what did he achieve? Larry, what did he achieve?
Think about the words you used to describe Hillary Clinton. Not once did you say that she was forthcoming, honest, and transparent. You said she was skilled. She is skilled. She's skilled at obfuscation and parsing and threading the needle of saying things without actually saying things.
Okay, but Larry,
that's why the American people don't trust her.
I understand, but if the goal of the hearing was either to score political points for the Republicans or to play defense for President Trump or to get to the bottom of the Clintons' involvement in this, he achieved nothing yesterday. He achieved nothing, except to make Hillary look great.
This is a 1-2 in your eyes, perhaps not in my eyes. There are plenty of people who don't think Hillary Clinton looked great yesterday. Here's the important thing. This is a 1-2 punch. What Bill Clinton says today, in contrast to and in comparison to what Hillary Clinton said, is really what this is all about.
Okay, I agree with you 100%. But here's my question. And Kevin, let me just ask Larry one more question.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do a better job today, both in the room and afterwards, with Bill Clinton than they did with Hillary Clinton?
It depends on what you consider a better job. I'm not looking at what kind of job they do.
Achieve an objective, either a political objective or a substantive objective.
The question should be, will Bill Clinton be honest and will their stories be consistent? Why do you think Hillary Clinton went first? It was so she could lay down the marker of what the testimony was going to be, and they spent all night briefing Bill saying, don't say this, say this. We can all see through this, Mark.
Kevin, one of the brilliance of the Clintons is they come up with a line of spin that doesn't actually engage on the answer.
That's right.
On the true question, and they just repeat it. So here's where they've set the bar. Never went to the...
But why are we praising them for that, Mark?
Well, Larry, we're praising their political skill, and we're praising it, but we're also saying the Republicans need to take this into account. If they want to achieve their objectives, they need to be as good or better than the Clintons. Kevin would say,
and they never will be.
Never went to the island. Hold on. Never went to the island.
Not to be the peacemaker here, but you're actually both right. The political skills of the Clintons are unmatched. But to Larry's point, they've been doing this for 40 years in terms of the obfuscation and the spinning narrative.
Take them on.
And that's excellent.
Don't take on world-class
Don't take them on. Exactly
if you
right.
can't manage it. But Kevin, here's my question.
And what did Hillary Clinton get out of this yesterday? An agreement almost by Comer to get Trump cabinet members to now testify.
Correct.
Given Howard Lutnick, the first thing for this is to do no harm.
Howard Lutnick's
and
already
the Clintons,
testified.
that bar was
not he testified on not in front of an investigative committee. He testified because he was testifying on Commerce Committee business.
For
Kevin,
appropriations.
The Clintons spin, and again, Larry's right. Maybe it's too cynical for me to praise this, but the Clintons say, here's the bar. Did we ever go to the island? No. Did we have any dealings with Jeffrey Epstein after he was sent to jail? No. I forget what the third thing. Oh, did we know about his illegality at the time? No. That's where they set the bar. But Bill Clinton, at a minimum, he took the plane rides from the guy. At a minimum, he's got the photos, and at a minimum, he took him to a wedding. Like he had a relationship with Maxwell and Epstein, and whether he saw or did anything illegal is different than the question of did he aid and abet the operation, right? So my question to you, Kevin, is what will the headline be out of Bill Clinton's testimony today? Because the testimony out of Hillary's was they asked her a bunch of irrelevant questions and she swatted them away. What will the headline be?
Yeah.
No, according to all the coverage, Larry. Larry, I haven't seen a single conservative media outlet or person on Twitter say anything about yesterday that was good for your side. I haven't seen one.
But because the characterization of what was asked is Hillary's characterization of it. We
Okay.
don't know what was asked.
She's telling the truth. Kevin, what will the headline
Oh,
be?
God forbid Hillary Clinton not tell the truth about something.
What will the headline be, Kevin? What will the headline be?
That it's a nothing burger, and that okay, these two now have testified. So what happens now with the president? What happens with cabinet members, and things like that? I think don't also doubt, even though he's older and they're drawing down expectations, that they've agreed to 1 day of testimony in this deposition, and I could see the president spending hours talking about Clinton Global Initiative, all the things they did together to spin this narrative that, okay, I took these plane rides to Haiti, to the DR to do this important work. And again, Larry, you make an excellent point about the strategy behind Hillary going first, right? And those folks in the room recording that conversation, Nick Merrill, others, and then now briefing the president to be even better now starting at 11 o'clock.
Yep. Larry, one more question on this, we'll move on. Hillary was defiant in her opening statement, in her testimony, as far as we know, and in the press conference after. Will Bill Clinton be defiant?
Nope. This is how they work it. He's going to be the good old boy, charming guy. And shucks, I had no idea.
If accepting a plane ride to feed 1 million children in Africa is the price of dealing with Jeffrey Epstein,
exactly right.
Just remember, let me just say, Bill Clinton, I think it's objectively fair to say and true that he had way more interactions, or it's been recorded that he had more interactions with Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump ever did.
Yeah.
And yet, in 2006, it was Donald Trump who told the chief of police in Palm Beach, everybody knew what this guy was doing, and Bill Clinton still claims he had no idea. Right. The American people need to reconcile those two facts.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that, Larry, is we really don't know how much time Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein spent together.
I just said, based on what we know, based on the record, Bill Clinton had way more interactions than Donald Trump.
I'm not sure. Just that one thing at Mar-a-Lago with the...
Based on what we know.
Well,
we can only base our opinion on what we know.
I'm not sure. Here's why I differ from that. Bill Clinton, as far as we know, to use your framing, took some plane rides from the guy and took them to a wedding. I believe that's the sum total of what we know. And they were involved in the global initiative.
And they were involved in the global initiative, and there were shoulder rubs, and there were swimming pools. And
but Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. They were friends. He had a favorable quote in New York Magazine.
Oh, so Bill Clinton traveled with him, hung out in swimming pools with him, went to parties with him, took his money, but they were never friends?
Correct. If you know anything about Bill Clinton and his relationships with people, he had friend-like interactions with people, way more friend-like than that of people who were not his friends at all.
It's a bit more transactional with
I don't think those were the only transactions.
I don't. Boom. I don't read the chat, but I glance at it. I know some of you felt we spent too long on this. Point of personal privilege for me. The Clintons were the first politicians I ever covered, and when they're in the news, I just lose it. I just get so whatever. All right, we're gonna go quick on this stuff. Larry, will any of the three Republican Senate candidates in Texas today get a more favorable shout out from the president, or we just say they're all great and I love them all?
I think he's staying agnostic until there is a runoff, and then it'll be very interesting.
Okay, Kevin, will any of the candidates get to speak? Like, will he call on Cornyn to speak because he's the incumbent, or he'll treat them all equally?
I doubt it. I mean, this is like The Apprentice on steroids, and the president loves this stuff. Interestingly, though, you saw Chris LaCivita, Tony Fabrizio, both pro-Cornyn people helping the reelect with Susie Wiles last night at dinner. We'll see if that conversation's there. Susie obviously has some sway over the president if there's any action towards Cornyn today.
Yeah. That's a great restaurant they went to, by the way.
It is.
Okay, we're going to skip a few things because we want to get to your questions. Again, if you're here on the platform, want to get in the conversation, please raise your hand. Assuming, as I think you both probably do, that Paramount will succeed in taking over Warner Brothers, give me the date that you think Barry Weiss will take over CNN. Larry, what's the date when Barry Weiss will take over CNN?
Can't be soon enough, but let's say, again, I don't know the legal ramifications of this, but let's say by before the midterm elections.
This year.
Right? I mean, again, I don't know what the legal ramifications. The second the deal is done, I think she gets it.
And Kevin, first, what's the date? And second, will they keep CNN as a standalone, or will they merge it with CBS?
Keep CNN as a standalone. 6 months from now, August 27th is when
Labor Day. I was thinking around Labor Day.
Oh, I don't think it happens till next year. Maybe I'm wrong. What happens to poor Anderson Cooper, who quit CBS in a huff and now they own him again, force him back on 60.
It's like the mob. The mob. You
Anderson
can never leave
Cooper's
the family.
Substack is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is, right? All right, Anthropic. This is a fascinating fight. 5 o'clock, 5:01. I don't know. They set the deadline at 5:01. I've never heard of that. 5:01 today. If Anthropic doesn't give in to the Pentagon's demands that they be allowed to use Claude unfettered, then they're going to not only fire them as their AI agent, but they're going to say Claude can't be a contractor for, I believe, the entire federal government. The two things that the Claude people and their very, I'll say, arrogant / confident CEO will not give in on is Claude should not be used to surveil the American people, which is something the Pentagon's not supposed to do anyway, and that Claude shouldn't be used to operate autonomous weapon systems, so that the same person who designs a photo of me of Kevin as a Mouseketeer is not firing drones off into space.
Those photos are already out there, Mark. I don't need to Photoshop
exactly.
anything.
Anyway, incredible war of words. You see up there the kind of the press release from the CEO of Anthropic, but on Twitter, at least two Pentagon officials have just tweeted just extraordinarily, I would say, mean-spirited, but very, very forceful responses. This one up now from Jeremy Lewin, who's a Pentagon undersecretary at the Pentagon, is kind of principled. There's another one that we don't have up, but they're basically just like the dozens, like really going after the guy. So let me ask you first, Larry, on the merits. If Anthropic says it's not safe to have weapon systems be run by us, it's a misuse of it, and we're not comfortable with that. If the vendor says that, should the Pentagon be demanding this? In other words, is their concern trumped for you by the Pentagon's view, which is our vendor can't tell us how to use the product?
Right. Well, that's what I'm sort of sorting through here, because who's in charge? Is it the military-industrial complex, as Oliver Stone would call it, or President Eisenhower for that matter? Or is it the Pentagon and those who are answer to the American people? That's sort of the crux of it. I know that it gets a little complicated because it's artificial intelligence, and you think that we're about to get into the Matrix zone here with robots taking over. But ultimately, that's the fundamental question. And I think the Pentagon has to have the final say, don't they? Because they answer to us.
Yeah. Thoughts, Kevin?
The interesting thing to me, and to your point, Mark, is just how personal it's gotten, right? You know, where people are being called out by name. You got like the deputy undersecretary, as you mentioned, obviously the CEO. This program is a $200 million program, I think, with Claude and Anthropic. That's a drop in a bucket for an AI company like that. I think, Mark, to your point, where it might affect their relationships across government, not just with the Department of Defense / War. I could see this company just saying the hell with it, obviously, in terms of the narrative that they're spinning, getting the high ground of we don't want to take place in human destruction, which I don't know why going into a relationship with the Department of War, they're not going to use it to create Mouseketeer. They're not going to create Mouseketeer, Mark.
Yeah.
And we know from the war between Ukraine and Russia just how important AI has been on the battlefield. So again, it's surprising me that they're throwing up red flags. Oh, we don't want to be part of maybe the American surveillance element of it. I get that, but missile defense, that's part and parcel what we need AI for.
Very well said by both of you. Either of you think this will be solved by 5:01 Eastern today?
I doubt it.
I don't know.
Not given how that meeting
it seems a little
went so terribly.
Yeah, it seems a little more complicated and involved than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to Andrew Ross Sorkin talk to a guy about AI and this issue, a former Pentagon official, on Squawk this morning, and it was unintelligible. I mean, it's just a complicated thing. What's the name of the company that just fired 40% of their workforce because of AI? You guys know what I'm talking about? One of the Twitter guys runs a company that had like 60,000 employees.
Like Square?
Square? Is that what it is?
Oh, Square.
Or Block?
Oh,
People were saying Block.
Block.
In the chat.
It's Block.
Block
had Block fired. They have like 100,000 employees, and they fired 40,000 or something. And they said, we're just moving it all to AI. It's all going to be better. And they talked about that on Squawk too. And once again, Joe Kernan is concerned about truck drivers and travel agents. But just this whole, I say it every show I do, just this whole AI thing is just so much bigger than anybody can comprehend, because there are people who know about politics and don't know much about AI, and people know a lot about AI and don't know much about politics. You have to know about both, folks, to be talking about this stuff.
Well, and to me, so this Anthropic issue, I mean, what's interesting to me is that have you noticed, I haven't noticed if Elon Musk has been all over it or not, because usually he's like plugged in and really has very, very strong opinions on this stuff. And the fact that because he has a lot of contracts with that building, that five-sided building over there, and one wonders if he is a voice in the room or not.
I know this is the talk of Silicon Valley, because everyone I know in Silicon Valley is messaging me about it and asking me what's going to happen. All right, one more, winners, losers, what to look for, and then to your questions. So please raise your hand if you're here on the platform. Larry, winner of the week.
Oh, it's obvious, President Trump. Take a look. This was the moment.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
As Selena Zito wrote in her column this week at the Washington Examiner, the campaign the Democrats should fear the most this midterm is the "These people are crazy" campaign. And President Trump was able to shift the narrative this week. The polls show that the American people liked that speech big time, and now say 64% of Americans say that President Trump's policies will advance this country. The midterms began this Tuesday, and right now the Republicans got a huge boost.
Kevin, winner of the week.
My winner, similarly to Larry, and obviously we've got our political stripes on, is Abigail Spanberger for the response, because the bar is so low for a response that she cleared it where no one is going to make fun of her on SNL. There's going to be no bits about her. She did no harm. So we're not talking about Marco Rubio sipping that water, or Bobby Jindal, or Katie Britt, or terrible, Stacey Abrams, where folks talked and made fun of that response. She did what she had to do, took the fight to Donald Trump. She's my winner this week.
Wow.
The Dow is way down, right? The Dow's down 500 points.
Talk about a low bar.
Keep monitoring that.
It is a low bar, but she cleared it, Larry, because no one's...
Just put up CNBC with no audio and let's just watch the numbers and the graphics. My winner of the week is David Allison and Team Paramount. They were confident from the start. The corporate, the media, the business media just failed you all on this story. It was obvious to anybody paying attention that there was no way Paramount was going to lose this. They were going to make a better offer in the end for a variety of reasons. The deep pockets of the Ellisons and the regulatory issues. And so Ellison gets what he wanted, but again, everyone in the business press, go read the coverage. 95% of it was, it's in the bag for Netflix, and it was obviously wrong. And so
viewers of this program knew.
Yes,
we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it, but
and they played the politics. It's a new game. You got to play the politics much better. And David was at the State of the Union. That's how things are getting done in Washington.
And they both hired a lot of good lobbyists, many of whom are my friends. But Ellison hired really great lobbyists, and that made a big difference as well. Okay,
Jim Cramer is panicking. Jim Cramer is panicking.
Calm, Jim. Calm. Larry, loser of the week.
The loser of the week are Senate Republicans, because as they claim that they don't have time to take up the SAVE Act and engage in an actual filibuster, this video reveals they have time for a dog parade.
What?
Yes. And you have been hanging around the Senate butt. Come on in.
Larry, there's always time for dog parade.
Yeah. Here's the real problem.
Is that baby dog? Is that baby dog right there?
That is baby dog. It is. And I love baby dog, don't get me wrong, but here's the
101st. Yeah, don't come after the 101st senator there, Larry.
My issue is that in California, baby dog can register to vote. And that's the problem, and it's why we need the SAVE Act. And Republican senators, they had a bad week for their base.
Are you guys surprised to hear that the United Kingdom has an embassy, a staffed embassy in Iran? Does that surprise you?
No, Europe's been very soft on Iran. Ambassador Grinnell, that was one of his biggest headaches when he was ambassador to Germany.
This won't surprise you.
I know the French certainly do.
This won't surprise you either. The UK has just evacuated its diplomatic staff from Iran, and they didn't do that. Didn't do that for fun. Didn't do that for fun. Kevin, loser of the week.
Loser of the week are all these clowns on the far left of my party that dressed up as inflatable frogs to counter-program the State of the Union. I don't understand what that was trying to do. There's no way you can compete with the State of the Union, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, given that address. And this just makes us look silly and stupid, and people just screaming their heads off at this State of the Swamp rally, which doesn't make sense to actually win elections and message to the middle.
I'm going out on a limb, even though he could redeem himself today, and saying Larry's close friend, Chairman Comer, is the loser of the week. What he did yesterday, it's like was so obvious what was going to happen. We talked about it here, and he just let Hillary Clinton come in and just completely own him, and it's incredible, just incredible. Larry, what are you looking for this weekend?
I was going to make Susan Rice the loser of the week because of Netflix. I was sure
that would have
you
been a
were
good
going to
one.
make.
That was a good
She's
one.
not the she's still on the board though. She's still on the board.
Now they can make all the Obama documentaries they want.
I'm throwing a flag, Kevin. You will bet on our group chat. Mark cited losers of the week in the Netflix Paramount story, so he was clearly waving me off of it.
Larry, do you know? Do you know?
It was a head fake. It was a head fake, just like Iran. It's a head fake.
The people who should be the most angry about Chairman Comer's performance, not just on this, but on the Biden stuff too, are people on the right. You all should be outraged at how poorly he is handling that gavel. He let Hunter Biden skate free politically. The law had different thoughts.
Yes.
Everybody's asking what's Trey Gowdy up to. Talk about a great oversight.
Larry, what are you looking for this weekend?
Here is what I am looking for this weekend. It sort of ties into my winner of the week. Watch this ad.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. These people are crazy.
That's the first of many ads that will be rolling out this weekend, and I can't get enough of them. I'm looking for these ads, not just on social media, but I want to see what kind of buys they're doing in what states and in what districts.
Yeah. Kevin?
Well, I had one planned, but our dear friend Haley in the chat reminds me that Connor Story from Heated Rivalry is hosting SNL, so I will be watching that tomorrow night.
Is SNL back? But they were still.
It's back on. It's back on tomorrow night.
Pandering to the chat. Shameless pandering to the chat.
And to my heartstrings with Heated Rivalry. What I'm watching actually this weekend is, do we actually, to Larry's point, keep talking about the State of the Union beyond just this week? You're putting down the marker that the midterms are on. Viewers. We got 36 million viewers last year, 33 million this year. Skewed Republican, obviously, in terms of folks watching. Does that actually move the needle whatsoever on the president's numbers on all those key issues, or do we just put it by the wayside and it was a blip like every other State of the Union recently?
Yeah. I can't reveal why I'm saying this for source purposes, but lean more into an attack this weekend by the U.S. than I did before the hour started, based on what I was just told. There's just more indications that there's going to be an attack this weekend.
Wow.
On Iran. Not a sure thing, but lean more into it. I am going to be in Palm Beach this weekend, and what I'm looking for is to see if a Mar-a-Lago member will bring me to lunch tomorrow. I've got a breakfast, but I need a lunch. So if you're a member of Mar-a-Lago and you'd like to take me to lunch in Mar-a-Lago tomorrow, because I want to be there when the president starts the war, feel free to reach out. That's what I'm looking for.
Does this program exist to just bolster your social calendar?
It's not social. I love history. I love covering history.
This is work.
I'm going to be right there
with a buffet.
I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be right there
on the show.
I'm going to be right there, and the president's going to walk by my table, and he's going to say, "Have the meatloaf. The meatloaf is incredible. Have you had the meatloaf? It's so good. It's the best meatloaf. This is the best meatloaf." And then he's going to say, "Excuse me, while I what did Bush say with the swing? Now watch this. What does he say?
Now watch this drive. Now watch this drive.
Now watch this drive. Trump's going to say, "Excuse me. Now watch this drive while I go upstairs to the ornate conference room and
and he'll
parlor.
say that O'Connor kid is really good. He's taller than that other guy."
Yeah. He is. He's going to say that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So concludes the portion of our chatter. In a moment, your questions. If you want to be in on the conversation, raise your hand. If you've never raised your hand, today'd be a good day to do it. Reminder that you can get shirts like this. Doesn't look very good where I'm sitting here in this tiny booth in the Sky Club, but you can get shirts from our partners at Fairway and Green, golf shirts, beautiful quarter zips. It's all incredibly well-made stuff with or without the two-way logo and our catchphrases, all available to you at a discount, very generous discount. Go to twoway.tv/fairway to get 20% off. Is it 20% now? I think it is. Anyway, you get a discount, and it's the most beautiful golf apparel you've ever had the pleasure of owning. Go to twoway.tv/fairway, as they say in our partnership. Classic style joins bold conversation. We're in charge of the bold conversation. There's classic style, and it's just so well made. Every time I wear it out in public and somebody sees me wearing it, they'll ask if they can touch it, like touch my monkey, like Peter Sellers, and they just say, my goodness, it's so soft, so wonderful, beautiful looking stuff. Twoway.tv/fairway. All right, here we go. Time for
Talk
your
about bold
questions.
conversation. Talk about bold conversation. Husband Alex tweeted me. Larry has definitely had his Wheaties this morning. He texted me earlier.
Yeah.
With that passion coming through that screen in that new studio.
Larry, was I too hot with you on the Clinton stuff and Comer stuff?
This isn't nothing.
Okay.
None of this is personal.
All right.
We're here to.
This is what this is all about.
I was ready.
You don't owe me an apology.
You
owe James Comer an apology.
I took it back. He's not stupid. He's ill-equipped to take on Hillary Clinton.
I rarely see you characterize a Democrat as a moron or stupid. As a Republican, I have an ear for this. We're always called stupid.
I don't typically call very many people that at all of either party.
Okay, that's fair.
But I mean, I'll say again, your side should be so outraged at Comey's incompetence.
I understand your point. I understand.
Comer's incompetence. It just what if I mean I'm take some time. I'll maybe write an article about it. He doesn't know how to do this. Does not know how to do this. Jeffrey,
bring
welcome
back
in.
Trey Gowdy.
Jeffrey, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are. If you're a member of Mar-a-Lago, let us know that. And what's on your mind for Larry and for Kevin, Jeffrey?
No, I am not a Mar-a-Lago alumni.
Where do you live, Jeffrey?
I am from Appleton, Wisconsin, originally an alumni of original native New Yorker from Queens, one of the outer boroughs. I am also incredibly grateful and excited to be on the morning meeting, speaking to the greatest country in the history of the earth, the United States
Amen.
of America. And I want to talk about the State of the Union, but
yes, sir.
I am a faithful nexter, and I can't wait to go out and buy James Rosen's incredible book. What an incredible interview.
Incredible book.
Yeah.
He's
Anton
James
Scalia,
Rosen is
the giant.
James Rosen's great. Yeah. Jeffrey, I recommend it to you. It's a great book. Jeffrey, what's on your mind about State of the Union?
When just the most incredibly staged State of the Union I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For me, what you do, Mark, with two-way is in what the left says, speaking truth to power. You do by having conversations.
Thank you,
and
sir.
being
Grateful to you for that.
open-minded and just admitting wrong when you're wrong.
Yeah.
And
thank you for that.
That authenticity and vulnerability is so huge.
Very
And
good.
it gave
Jeffrey,
me the courage.
if Chairman Comer does a great job today at 4:00, I'll just be singing his praises. I'll revise him. I'll make him winner of the week.
Mark, that is right.
We are
Mark
equal
will
opportunity.
do that.
We are
Yeah.
equal opportunity.
Jeffrey, it's
go
so
ahead,
true
Larry.
that I have interacted with a lot of giants in the media who have, done at the highest levels what Mark's been able to do, and I could not talk to them the way we're all able to interact with Mark. It really is. It sets him apart from everyone else in his
Very
business.
kind of you.
It's fantastic.
Very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think
Jeffrey,
at a time where everyone is just, to Jeffrey's point, everyone's retreating to their silos. No one's engaging. New polling that, no one wants their kids to date someone from the other party or anything like that. This shows even more important to have authentic conversations across the political spectrum and to hear from folks like you, Jeffrey, as well.
Thank you for
Yes, when a highlight for me, and there were so many highlights at the Medal of Honor winners, but it made me cry. But when the hockey team walked down through the press corps,
Yes.
and the press corps nobody stood up to applaud. I was like in shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It was
just wanted
bizarre.
to get your
Yeah.
opinion on
It
that.
was bizarre, Jeffrey.
And Yes, the press corps, the corporate press corps, I've completely cut cords because I no longer listen to the major media. I used to
Yeah.
be Fox, CNN, no
Yeah.
longer
Yeah.
because I have to get facts from on my own.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Or from two way.
how could you not celebrate
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the greatest
Yeah.
events?
Yeah, Jeffrey, great question. You guys are not reporters, but Kevin, if a reporter friend of yours said in advance, I'm going to be in the hall, and I'm not supposed to applaud at political events, but we know the hockey team's going to be there. Should I applaud? What would you tell a reporter friend?
Yes, yes. And you saw a bunch of reporters not in that room saying, "What the heck are you guys doing?" And
Yeah.
applaud for the 100-year-old World War II Korea War veteran getting the Medal of Honor. After an incredible missions in Korea that are now just coming to light, bipartisan approval on all of that. You stand and you applaud and you give praise.
Larry, I have to say, just being honest, I hear what Jeffrey and Kevin are saying, but I would be, if I were in the hall, I would be reluctant to stand and applaud anything,
Really?
because it's a political event, and I'm there as an observer and a chronicler. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying historically, like if I were, okay, so
I hear that too.
So guys, let me ask you a question. Let's say you were in an event at the White House, and Donald Trump's doing an event, or Barack Obama, and a little girl is brought up on stage and she tells a heartwarming story about overcoming adversity in the East Room. Should reporters stand up and applaud that?
I would.
No, you can't.
I would. I'm a human
because it's a
being.
a political event.
Well, this
Reporters
we're
are not human
journalists.
beings.
That's our
Reporters
Thank
are not
you.
human beings. That's your first thing.
I'll have two responses to you. First of all, from my perspective, if Joe Biden were giving the State of the Union and he had the women's World Cup soccer team come down, something tells me those same reporters would have stood. Okay, I could be wrong. I'll never be able to prove it, but I think they would have.
It's great. It's a great hypothetical. Truly.
But number
I
two.
do. I'm sorry.
I will remember I covered the 2012 presidential election for Breitbart, and I was in the press room for the debate at Hofstra, and I took it was the national anthem, and they played the national anthem before the debate, and I stood, and none of the reporters stood for the national anthem, and I snapped a picture of it, and it got some coverage.
That I do, of course I do that.
There is a mental illness. This is a you've covered that, Mark.
Yes,
This
sir.
and I admit, I've been in recovery now 10 years. I admit that when I was in denial for 40 years, over 40 years. I believe that they're in denial, and I was in denial. I had Biden derangement syndrome for 4 years.
Yeah.
EDS.
Jeffrey, thank you for coming on
Thanks,
today,
Jeffrey.
and thank you
Bless
for
you.
being part of Two-Way. Very grateful to you.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
While we bring Haley in, put up the Gallup poll, if you would. Where is that? Well, you guys know where it is. It's a new Gallup poll about attitudes towards Israel. Here comes Haley. Hey, Haley, welcome in. Can you put that up? Yeah, here we go. Israel is no longer ahead of Americans' Middle East sympathies. The question is, in the Middle East situation, are your sympathies more with Israelis or more with the Palestinians? And this goes back to 2002. Gallup's been asking this question. And Israel, again, if you're watching, you can see the lines, but I'll talk it through here for people on the podcast or Sirius XM. Israel, it was way ahead. Israel was like almost above 60, and the Palestinians were down as low as 15. And now the lines have crossed, and now 41% of Americans have more sympathy for the Palestinians than for Israel at 38%. We talk all the time about how this is an issue that divides both parties. We talk all the time about whether a Democrat who's perceived as pro-Israel can be nominated for president in 2028. We talk all the time about how in this midterm year, you may see primaries won by Democrats who have a much worse chance of winning the general election because within the Democratic electorate, there's much more sympathy. These numbers would be even more pro-Palestinian than Israel if it was just a Democratic electorate. And then here's Haley, who must look at this poll number as a supporter of Israel and as a citizen of both the United States and Israel and not feel happy. Haley, sorry to hit you with bad news. I'm wondering what you think of that poll, and then ask us whatever you want.
Not surprised. I'm going to be honest. I mean, the trends have been for months, since I want to say October 7th, been trending that way. So this is not a surprise. It's very, very sad. And I might be an outlier in my community, but I do think that we we have to take some blame for this and understand what we're doing wrong, because we are making a lot of mistakes here as well. And I don't want to put everything on anti-Semitism, which is obviously a huge, huge problem. But I also think that our reactions to some things are a little are making more problems where there shouldn't be.
Yeah, Larry, you have a question you'd like to ask Haley or Kevin?
Well, I mean, when you say that, I do. And Haley, Shabbat Shalom to you. When you say that the state of Israel, the government of Israel, is partially to blame here, can you be more specific? What do you think?
I don't necessarily mean the state or the government. I've come on here. I'm not a supporter of current government as an Israeli. I've been very vocal about that. I don't put it on the state of Israel. I put it on more of the influencers that represent the pro-Israel community. I think we make sometimes enemies where there aren't enemies to begin with. I think we throw around the word anti-Semitism very sometimes too much.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, Mark
I want to be
Mark
honest.
and I had a little debate about this over coffee, actually, a couple
I
of
want to
months
be
ago.
honest here. I think in the last year we've made enemies where there haven't been, and we've kind of pushed people towards rabbit holes that they shouldn't necessarily have been down to begin with, just in our reaction to the way people have been speaking about Israel.
Yeah,
And like I said,
but coming off of the October 7th massacre, I think that's natural.
exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry. That's what's so devastating to me about that poll. When you look at the graph, it's post October 7th. Suddenly, people say, "Yeah, the Palestinians have a point." What? Are you kidding me?
Listen, I know people who have, I know intimately people who have lost family and friends on October 7th. We're all directly affected. Every Israeli is directly affected by what happened on October 7th. And there was in our community, in the Israelis, I'm not speaking for the Jewish, I'm speaking for Israelis. There was a sense of revenge, let's say, for a very long time. However, things have shifted, and the image that is coming out of, like, I want to say, the influencer class is, we have to switch, like, we have to be able to switch with the times. And we're no longer in the aftermath of October 7th. Things have changed. The war has ended. The hostages are home. So we're now in a different stage, and we have to be able to talk about what's going on in Israel honestly as Israelis, and we can't just throw around the word anti-Semitism all the time. I am, like I said, I am against the Israeli government. I think that they have done a lot of harm to
Understood.
the state of Israel, but I will never, forsake my country. I'm pro-Israel to begin with, but we have to be honest in our discussions. I do think the other side doesn't take nuance, and that's the problem with debating, let's say, pro-Palestinians and people who are more sympathetic with the cause. But we also have to sometimes see that we're making some mistakes. So that's where I am on that.
Yeah, Haley, thank you. I got to interrupt you just because we're getting close to time, and there's some things I need to update everybody on. So, Haley, thank you for that. Grateful to you.
Thank you, Haley.
Okay. The Dow continues to be way down. We'll watch that. I meant to bring up what's going on between Afghanistan and Pakistan, which is war with one country that's got nuclear weapons. We just don't have time to talk about it, but we'll certainly follow that till 4 o'clock for 2A tonight. And again, remember, 2A tonight is special time today on the platform at 4 o'clock, 5 p.m. on X and on YouTube. Do you guys know the journalist Jacqueline Sweet? Do you know her? She's worked for Politico and a bunch of other places.
Mm-hmm.
She tweeted this as a scoop about this alleged accuser for whom 3 of her interviews with the FBI are missing from the Epstein documents. And again, I'm not saying this is dispositive or I can't confirm the reporting, but it matches what I've been told generally. Here's what she says about the woman who accused President Trump of rape. I say what the accusation is because they talk about it on MS Now about every hour. Here, and they're all hyped up about it. They're all like, this is a silver bullet. Donald Trump raped a girl when she was underage. Here's what she says. Her allegations in these interviews with the FBI contradict what is known about Epstein's life in the early 1980s. The accuser has faced several fraud and theft charges in Washington, and in 2023, a felony charge for the exploitation of an elderly person in Georgia accused of stealing the money of a terminally ill man saved for his family to pay for his own funeral. So we don't know why those interviews are missing, and we talked earlier in the program about whether they'll be released, but this is what I've heard about this person and the level of credibility she might be seen as having when these are released. And like so much of what happens with Hillary yesterday and with Donald Trump historically, the attacks on him over Epstein may backfire, is what I'm saying, because the MS now talks about this every hour. Gentlemen,
but
yeah,
I'll
go
say
ahead.
as a supporter of the White House, just get it all out. Because
Yeah.
the bottom line here is nobody believes that Merrick Garland and Joe Biden had this information and didn't prosecute Donald Trump if it was credible.
Yeah.
So they've got that obvious fact on their side.
The only member of Team Trump who might disagree with you would be maybe Howard Lutnick. Right now, turn over to SiriusXM. Somebody sent me a series of emails saying, I can't believe the show's no longer free on YouTube, and I don't have SiriusXM or free on the platform. We're right here, folks. I don't know how they missed it. 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We're right here every day. We'll be back Monday. And then right now on SiriusXM Channel 111, you can listen to the program on another hour of the morning meeting every Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock. As I said, today I will see you at 4. Might be a lot of news. Bill Clinton will probably still be in his deposition, but we might have some updates out of that. And, of course, the latest on what's going on with Iran. And then we'll be back Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Very grateful to y'all for being part of the two-way community. Kevin and Larry just couldn't enjoy being on with you two more. And thank you for being part of two-way. We're all very grateful to you because you make the show, and we say conversations like no other. And that's in large part testament to you all. Thank you all very much. I'll see you at 4 Eastern Time today. Take care.